I wanted to take a minute to speak on how we live in a nation where priorities have gone upside down. We can find $20 billion to bail out other countries, yet we can't seem to find the compassion for the single mother down the street trying to feed her child. I don't get it. You know, we can move heaven and earth to rescue nations that are far away, but we cutting food stamps for the hungry right here in America. We can fund wars, but we can't fix roofs. We can send aid, but we can't send hope to neighbors down the street. Something is wrong when the richest nation in the world has veterans sleeping under bridges. When we've got children going to bed hungry while other leaders write blank checks to the whole world. You know, I ain't saying we can't help other people, because love is going to, always make you want to reach out. But charity, real charity, begins right here in America. It should anyway. The word says in 1 Timothy 5:8, but if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Come on now. If that's true, then in that situation, how much more is it true for a nation that calls itself under God? We the people have got to stop accepting the crumbs while the table is full. We got to ask ourselves, when do we become okay with suffering as long as it's not us? When do we decide that our brothers and sisters right here in America are less deserving of dignity than the strangers that we helping across all these seas? I don't know, man. It's like maybe it's time for us to remind our leaders as well as ourselves, that compassion starts in our communities, in our churches, in our cities. God is watching how we treat our own before we boast about how we blessing other people. So I just wanted to be sitting there saying this, not, for nobody to get angry, but for us to peep, what's really going on. It's time for us to start demanding better. Let's be better. Because a nation that forgets to feed its people while feeding the world is a nation that's forgetting its soul.